Hello class, and welcome to my digital unit. I call it Writing Project Phase 1. It's the first of 3 phases of a writing project, the second phase being outlining and drafting, and the third phase being editing and sharing with peers. So in the first phase here, it's called What Difference Does It Make? We enter and we get a description of this unit. I describe what Phase 1 will be about, research and preparation, and how Phase 2 will actually be done in person. So the entire project is not online, it's just Phase 1. Here I describe the main purpose of the lessons: to grasp some of the complexity of real-world issues and collect quality information for a writing project. And the objectives are listed here. And all of my objectives are precise and measurable. And before we get into the first lesson, I have my students fill out this short survey just for my ability to see where they're at, and so it increases my ability to serve them as their instructor. Here we get started, and it takes us to Lesson 1. Actually, no, this is the lesson descriptions page. So it breaks down into the 3 lessons so that you can get an idea ahead of time. And here we might as well go to start Lesson 1. All right, it's called Informing Social Progress. Actually, that's the name of the lecture. But before they view the lecture, I asked them to sign up with EduBlogs and create a blog. This is the way that I'm going to assess them. And I also provide the handout, which is I call it the companion guide, but it's the guided notes for the lecture. So once they have the guided notes, they can begin the lecture. The lecture begins
Hey there, welcome to
as a
lesson
prezi
1 of the writing project. Before we get going, I want to make sure that you have a copy of the companion.
and it progresses through to a point where they must take out their companion guide and follow along, as it says right here. If you want to see this presentation, please email me and I'll send you the link. So after Lesson 1, we can go straight to Lesson 2. Lesson 2 is a web quest, and I call the web quest Extra, Extra, Read All About It. That is, of course, a reference to the old school paper boys who were selling newspapers on the corner. So let's say we go to the web quest and take a look. Here in the web quest, I explain what it's about. I break down the tasks. As you can see, there's the little paper boy. And we go into the details of the process. I break it down into step by step. So, but before they start, I ask them to sign up for Livebinders and Poplet, because they're going to be using both of these for this assignment, but they'll actually be using Livebinders for the rest of the project. Okay. Once they finish the web quest, we move on to evaluation. Here I have a rubric, a little scoring guide. And then when they're done, I provide them with a video about finding good sources. It's actually kind of funny. And of course, credits. And let's go back to the main page. So, lesson 3. Lesson 3 is about implementing reform measures. Well, it's actually, that's the topic that they're learning about, but lesson 3 is really about preparing for writing. This section explains why they're going to do the assignment. And it also describes that they're going to be breaking their sources into 3 types. And I've already prepared them for this with the web quest. But the 3 types are academic, political, and popular. So they're actually going to have a headline news source, and they're going to have a scholarly source, and a source that doesn't necessarily need to be the words of a politician, but it could be some kind of policy maker, anyone involved in the process of implementing reform measures. So here's the graphic organizer activity. Here's a blank version. And I created this specifically for the project. Here I explain, and I provide this model here that doesn't make any sense by itself, but of course I explain with details about what each word means to me, basically, why I use that word to refer to this information down here. Actually, this is the sample that I created based on, actually first I did the web quest, just so I was making sure I was in the right place, and this is the work that I came up with. It's real research. And the directions for the activity. So they can do these in any order. There's no step-by-step numbering, but they are organized here according to the placement. For some reason the bottom right box is missing, but that's okay. So now that they're done with lesson 3, we can move on to the assessment page. Here I explain, or here I describe the order that they're going to be doing it in. And I organize it according to whether it's before they research, during their research, and after they're done. So while they're researching, they're doing all these activities that we just went over. And when they're done researching, they move on to the other pages in this assessment tab. So here we go to, well, before we go there, let's go to the unit plan template, just so you can take a peek. Here in the unit plan template, I provide concise explanations and descriptions, and I order the assessments according to what type they are. So here you see that in the entry level, they have a survey that you saw and an anticipation guide that you did not see, and a blog post, which I described in the activities, the concept map, which is the Poplet, link to their binder, which I assess their research by checking out what they saved in their binder, and the organizer activity, which is the 9-box grid, and the outline assignment, which we are about to get to. The summative assessments include the self-assessment that they will do, and that's at the end of the outlining activity. And that's at the end of the organizer activity, and the quiz, which is completed at the end of the entire unit. Although it's listed as summative, it really is more formative, and the outline is more summative. Really, you can switch them around, since really this is just phase 1. Alright, so going back now, here we have unit resources, of course, Live Binders, EduBlogs, Poplet, Create WebQuest, which is the program I used, and Testmos, which you are about to see. These are the headline news sites I recommended to my students. Here I have my teacher site, and I explained that here they can, if they visit my website, they can stay up to date with the class schedule, class policies, and weekly progress towards class goals. And now, but last but not least, we have the assessment. So even though this outlining assignment is technically after the 3rd lesson, it is still done before the next lesson. So you can think of it as a kind of in-between lesson. So I explain the purpose of outlining, and I show them that it's actually pretty easy when you think about how you're just going to be inputting the 3 different types of sources into the outline, since you need 3 different kinds of details. It makes sense. Also, in the lecture, I explained to them that they get to choose which type of writing they'll be doing: informative, argumentative, or narrative. And here it tells them that regardless which one they choose, they will have to complete an outline that arranges their information in a detailed and logical manner. So here is a picture I found that really, I think, makes it easy for them to understand what an outline does. And really, this is a simple outline. Even though they're an advanced sophomore class, this is not meant to be a challenging outline activity. This is really more for them to organize their thoughts, because we're going to really get in deep, and they're going to keep working on their outline as they continue drafting. That's one of the things that I think is important for writing, is not just creating an outline before you start writing, but working on the outline as you're writing, in the same way that we were kind of working on our digital unit plan template as we were creating our digital unit plans. So here I explain to them that each of the 3 main details will have 2 supporting details, which creates a total of 9 items. That kind of sounds like the 9-box chart that they made. The information won't perfectly satisfy it, but that's why they're making this outline. So here I explained to them that the title really doesn't need to be the official final title, and that the information that they put in the conclusion and introduction areas is definitely going to change. And lastly, the end of unit quiz. The end of unit quiz takes you to an embedded quiz that you end up, I don't know what's going on here. So you end up typing your name in here and completing the quiz.